Kathy Nichols, and I'm a lifelong artist, painter, and teacher. I help students of all ages tap into their creativity with watercolor. Watercolor is a great way to express yourself, and it's easy to get started and fun to do.
My watercolor lessons are designed for beginners of all ages. No theory and not too technical. Just follow along with me.
I hope you join me to learn how to paint with watercolor. I can't wait to see your paintings.
Welcome to the first lesson in our bird portrait series. Also, this will be the first lesson using our new brushes that we reviewed in our last video. Let's see how they perform. Some of our most popular lessons have featured birds, including our quail lesson. The portraits have also been popular. I love watching quail. They're quirky and cute, and I always like to paint them. We'll use 3 brushes, 5 paints, and 5 techniques. Be sure to check below for useful information and links. Let's paint! Let's get started. Today we're painting a quail. Let's always start to moisten our paints here in our pan. Put some water in our palette. Now, in this lesson, I did create a template, and I did use a photograph to refer to the bird. And here's the photograph. And here is my template that I created. I traced it on the photograph. So put your template about right here. That looks good. Then take your liner brush and load it with yellow ochre. Okay. I always like to have a piece of paper towel in my other hand to dab when I need to. So let's wet your liner brush and lighten the line here and spread some of that paint on the top of the head. Below this color that we have created here is a dark line. When I look at this bird, I see that there's two distinct white lines. So we want to use the watercolor paper for the white. So first, let's create a dark color. That's kind of a bluish black. So load your liner brush with burnt umber and ultramarine blue. And this feather that sticks out is called a top knot. So we can go ahead and fill in some of the color here with that dark bluish brown. Okay. Below this, there is some of this color, but it's not as intense. Wet your brush a little to dilute some of that color and bring it down below towards the beak. The beak has some of this color, so let's go ahead and bring that color down in the beak. And on the neck, there's some of that color. Now, we will later go in and add some contrast and darken certain areas. Now you want to carry this color down to about right here. Let's stop a moment and look at our photo. So we see that there's two very bold white lines. One by the eye and one that circles around the neck. Let's load our liner with this same color of burnt umber and ultramarine blue. And make a line. To me, it's like the shape of a crescent moon. Up towards the eye. Now, as I look at this, I see that the eye is not quite right. But the nice thing with watercolor is you can change that. I want to position the eye more in line where the beak is. I will reshape the eye. The nice thing with watercolor is you can fade the lines and almost erase them completely. Let's make the eye a little below and more in line with where the beak is. Like that. Okay. Now
this white goes up pretty close to the eye. And then on the other side, let's paint in another line, and not a straight line. Kind of staggered it with just kind of in and out lines. You don't have to make it like a solid straight line that you dashes of line to help you know where to put the color. Above the eye, there's a little dark space. So let's fill that in. And then let's make this more of a circle here. And then bring that color below. Above this dark line that you see is where the white is. And paint in a line here. Like so. Okay, now right above here there's some more of that dark color, but we don't want to bring that color up to where this solid color is. So let's create some contrast by adding that dark color. This area right here has a lot of that dark color. With watercolor, it's nice to build those layers. So again, use your mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue. And paint in where the neck is here. And bring it all the way up to where the eye is. Okay, this area here, this need to fill in with some color. Now this line right here, this shape right here, stops about right here. So let's take your brush with the same color and fill in right here. And water it down a little. Like that. Go ahead and clean your brush. On the top of the head, there is that color of rust, and we need to add some
burnt sienna there. So go ahead and load your liner with burnt sienna. And add some of that color right at the top of the head. Now you might notice that some of it will run if it's close to the black area, and that's okay. Gives it a little flavor. The area along here, there are some white spaces. You will want to leave some, and I think to create the texture with this is you will take some paper towel and have that handy. Use a mixture of burnt sienna and the ultramarine blue. Put some paint along this area, and then take your paper towel and dab it. So you're lifting some of that dark color out. I think that's easier than trying to paint these little white spaces. Now I accidentally splattered some paint, and this is an easy fix. You can just dab your paper towel on water and pick up some of the paint I accidentally splattered. There we go. So carry that paint to about right here.
Okay, when you get it all carried down, we're going to take a pause. Let me know when you're ready to pause.
Then do some more dabbing. As we are working our way down this area, there's a little bit more blue. Let's go ahead with a mixture of burnt umber and put a little more ultramarine blue, just so that it's more on the bluish gray side. And you can use your paper towel to test that. I need a little more blue on that. And then start to spread that. Now I like how this fades, so the color is stronger where the white area is. And then as you come down, it spreads into a more lighter color. As I look here, this part doesn't seem quite right. So let's switch to a thicker brush, to our round with pointed tip brush. And with the same mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue, put some of that paint down, and you want it lean towards more of the blue color here.
Move the possibility everywhere sign where you can see it.
And just carry some of that color up below. And don't cover the white spots. You want to leave those. Carry some more of that color down here. Like that. Now let's stop and give it a good dry. Okay, let's go back with our liner brush and work on this area of the beak, around the beak and the neck. Again, using the color of burnt umber and the ultramarine blue. I want to intensify that color.
bring it down on the lower beak. The eye is a very dark color. So I need to make some more mixture here. And now with the eye, there's a white spot. So I want to leave a white spot. Like that. Now, let's create some contrast by making lighter around the eye and then darker on both sides here. And then bring some of that dark color down below the neck. And close to the beak. Let's switch brushes and we want to work on the neck here. And let's use the round with pointed tip brush using the same colors mixture here. Now this area is dark, so we want to make some really dark areas and some not so dark. Kind of give it a layer texture feeling in the neck here. And let's add a little bit more down below here. Like that. You can get carried away by trying to paint every little feather. So that's when it's a good idea is to stop, pause, look at your painting to see, what you need to do. I see that the top knot here needs to be darkened and the area here doesn't seem right. So let's first work on the top knot and using the same mixture here. I need to make more in my palette here. There, that looks better. Below here, there's some water lines that I don't like, and you can make those disappear
So again, using the same mixture with the burnt umber and the ultramarine blue. I'm putting a little more blue because there's more of a bluish gray color down here. Just right here, the water line, and I'm just covering it with more paint. And then sometimes you need to give it a minute or two to dry to see what it really looks like. There's many choices with watercolor, and you could leave it like this in relief, and some people like that. That's their preference. Or you can create a background with a depth of field by creating a wash. Now let's paint the background. And that's when I do backgrounds, I really like to use the mop brush. So wet your mop brush. And I see that I have some of the yellow ochre, and I'm going to leave that in my palette. Add a little more. And add some sap green. I'm choosing not to wet the paper because there is an image that I want to be careful not to let the color bleed into. I find it helpful to start at the top and then work your way down. Now I'm thinking that's a little bit light to me, so starting back at the top here and adding more color and working my way down.
What colors did you add?
So here I'm just using the yellow ochre with a touch of sap green. I like to add a little texture to my
background. And so you can take your paper towel and just kind of dab, and if there's any pooling that you don't like, you can get any of the excess pooling in the water. And it also creates a little texture in the background there. You could add a little green. So you will want to take your round with pointed tip brush, and the paint is wet, and load your brush, your round with pointed tip brush with sap, and you can put some spots of green, like some trees are faded in the background.
Like some trees are blurred in the background.
Like some trees are blurred in the background. And if some of the areas the paper has dried, you just need to wet the area with your brush, and the paint will it will reactivate. And then take a moment and stop to review. And now that I have stopped and reviewed, I like the painting. I hope you enjoyed this session. Hope to see you next time. Join me next time when we'll have some more creative fun. To give watercolor a try, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, and take a lesson or two. Take care, be safe, and see you soon.